and welcome to our 10-day challenge. This is summer 2020. We are in the kind of the midsummer COVID nature of things and trying to create a new normal. So I always do a 10-day 3 times a year. We do a 21-day in January, and then in April, July, and October, I like to do a 10-day. That way, it doesn't let you get too far away before you need to start picking things back up again. So welcome. Most of you are doing an inflammation, but I am offering in both blood sugar, inflammation, and immune because of the nature of the immune system and the needs of it today. I thought it was important to really talk about that as well. So we'll talk a little bit about the innate immune system and how important it is. But first, we want your wellness journey to begin today. So here's your challenge. I want you to follow some eating guidelines that focus on whole and unprocessed foods like vegetables, fruits, and lean protein. I want you to avoid all refined carbohydrates, artificial sweeteners, sugar, chemical additives, processed meats, fried foods, caffeine, and soft drinks. Drink supplement shakes with whole food ingredients, take a simple protocol of supplements throughout the day, and you could possibly lose 10 pounds in 10 days. That's the real challenge. So here's what we need to do to get ready. So here's how you start. So you go to your kitchen, and I want you to clean out the foods that are not on the food list. And the food list I'm referring to is on either the 10-day inflammation book or the 10-day blood sugar book. Those of you doing the immune system will use the same book. Remove any foods high in refined sugar, fats, and carbohydrates, because I really don't want you going back to those. Anything that's not opened and it hasn't expired, donate it to your local food bank. So I want you to stock your pantry and your refrigerator. I want you to go shopping for vegetables, protein, fruit, and other items on your food list, but only do a couple days worth. I find that sometimes, for me, my taste buds change after a few days. I started doing these programs back in 2005 when I did the 21-day, and I loved collard greens. I ate collard greens almost every meal. By the end of the 21 days, I never wanted to see another collard green again. So I also want you to make some simple lifestyle changes. I want you to get more sleep. I don't want you to sit for long periods. I want you to get 10,000 steps a day, and I want you to be more active. So to be successful on this journey, I'm going to ask you to eat frequently throughout the day to help maintain a level blood sugar range, especially if this is if you're trying to make a great lifestyle change. Some of you I know are already doing kind of an intermittent fasting, so you can continue with that if you're comfortable with that. My big golden rule: eat twice as many veggies as fruit. This increases your fiber and your antioxidants. I'd like for you to throw in a mixed green salad with your lunch and dinner, and I want you to try veggies of the rainbow, a variety of colors. Each color category provides different nutrients, and the difference between fruit and vegetables is the sugar, so we do want to kind of watch that. So if you're going to use fruit, I'd like for you to limit it to your shakes, and if you're going to use that, I would stick with blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, that kind of thing, because they're a little lower in the glycemic index than, say, a banana or an apple. So I want you to drink water, this is just kind of a guideline, but divide your body weight in half, and that's about how many ounces of water you should drink daily. So this is a beautiful picture. We went to Exuma in 2018. Since nobody can really travel right now, I thought I'd kind of throw this in so you can see what we have to look forward to maybe in the future. We spent a week on a 40-foot catamaran in Exuma in the Bahamas, which we got to see the most beautiful blue waters every day. It was an amazing trip. I could live on a boat. You get up in the morning, you put your bathing suit on, and you swim first thing in the morning, have a little coffee, make a little breakfast, then get ready to go to another island. So it was fabulous. So a part of the program, and I consider it a big part of the program, always starts with SP Cleanse and doing a little bit of a metabolic detox. Our bodies are super amazing. I mean, we have more wiring in the space shuttle, and we drive it around like a garbage truck. We put crappy food in it, we bang it around, and then we get mad when it doesn't work for us. So the body does so many very cool things. I mean, we can, as I'm sitting here, my heart is beating, my food is digesting, my blood is circulating, and I don't even have to think about that. Thank goodness, because if I'm trying to talk to you and think about that, I wouldn't live for very long. So when we talk about detoxification, we do have a metabolic detoxification program in our body. It's already there. It just was never designed to handle the load that we give it. And our body's always inundated with endogenous toxins and exogenous coming the outside, endogenous being made from the inside. And we have three phases of that metabolic detoxification. We have phase one, which it takes the stored fat soluble toxins, unlocks them, and makes them water soluble. Problem with that is in many cases that it becomes more toxic than it was in its original form. So then we need phase two, which neutralizes, and those highly toxic substances then are that are produced in the phase one are then converted to non-toxic molecules, and then they become even more water soluble. And phase three is that elimination phase. The water soluble toxins leave your cell and your body and eliminates them through urine, through feces, through sweat, through your lymph system. So when we talk about exogenous, we're talking about heavy metals, personal care products, hairspray, toothpaste, lotions, all those things have chemicals on them we're exposing our bodies to. Dyes and paint, cigarette smoke. Hopefully none of you are cigarette smokers. Certain household cleaning products, preservatives and additives, pollutants in the water and the air, and then, pesticides and insecticides. In Florida, I mean, we have, especially in the summertime, the big trucks come around and spray for mosquitoes. And I mean, you really don't have much choice, but you head for the house. And as kids, we would follow the truck on our bikes thinking that was so cool. And we were just so stupid. So that's why I always do detox, because I know the damage I've done to my body in the past. So the endogenous toxins would be like carbon dioxide, ammonia, and free radicals. And they're everywhere. And these toxins can contribute to your difficulty sleeping, fatigue, indigestion, food cravings, weight gain, reducing your mental clarity, low libido, skin issues, even joint discomfort. And there are 80,000 chemicals that are registered for use. 800 million pounds of herbicides used per year, and then 167 industrial chemicals are found in adults with no employment-related exposure. And that's pretty scary. And the typical diet we eat nowadays, or the Americans eat, are high in fat, refined sugar, and salt. So we call it a SAD diet. That's the standard American diet. And I do go into more detail on this when we do the 21-day purification, because I have a little more time to do that. So here are the products for each of the challenges. So I'm going to go through each of them, and the first two on each program are the same, so I'll cover those first. So first thing I'll use is SP Complete or Veggie Pro Chocolate and Vanilla. I know most of you are probably using the Veggie Pro, but this is great, gives you great protein in for your body, amino acids, essential fatty acids, and other vitamins. It's great antioxidant activity, healthy liver function, normal elimination of toxins, and helps to maintain a healthy weight. And especially the Veggie Pro Complete, Veggie Pro Chocolate or Vanilla. I mean, I use those year round. I mean, I always have one shake a day. That's how I get a lot of my plant-based protein in my diet. So everybody will have a shake. You can have up to 3 shakes a day. And the ingredients are always amazing. Marianne hates when I do this, but alfalfa, and I'm old enough to know who that is, but some of you are not. And we have, we don't eat some of these things, but they have so many nutrients in it, so they are edible. We just are not going to go out and grab a handful of buckwheat or alfalfa and eat it. So SP Cleanse, another super amazing product, and it has 20 unique whole food botanical ingredients. It's really great for supporting the liver, kidney, and gallbladder. It helps with your healthy digestive function, your normal elimination of toxins, and also just overall healthy elimination. And it too is just packed with phytonutrients that we just wouldn't eat but are very good for us. And Spanish black radish is really the key. It really supports that detoxification enzyme activity in the liver. So it really pushes that phase 2 to really clean up those phase 1 toxins that have become more toxic. So really cool. When I went to the farm, they had it all cut up so you could taste it. It's pretty spicy. It's not something you would just go out and eat. It's like a regular globe or red radish on steroids. And then for those of you that say that I don't give you can't have wine, you can have Oregon grape root. So, be thankful. And then fenugreek seed. We use that a lot in products, but it does help with cholesterol metabolism. So if you're doing the blood sugar program, you're going to be on one of the products we call Gymnema, and it's a MediHerb product. It is a slam dunk for really helping those of you that are having sugar cravings. So it also helps to aid in your metabolism, maintaining energy, and helps to if you're on a weight management plan, if you need to lose weight, this is a great product, especially if you're really, you are really a sugar craver. When I teach doctors, I always give them one of the tablets and I have them just kind of suck on it for a few minutes. It has a little green tea kind of flavor, kind of earthy, and then I have them swallow it. And then I give them a Hershey Kiss, a chocolate Hershey Kiss. And when they eat it, they can't taste the sugar in it. It just tastes like kind of chocolatey, muddy oil in their mouth. So it works super well. Then there's Diaplex. Diaplex is really great. We use this a lot for our diabetic patients. It has chromium, which is really an essential nutrient for carbohydrate metabolism. Helps to support the pancreas and your bowels and your gallbladder. Also has a little bit of a digestive enzyme, and is packed with beets. And beets are amazing for our body. It gives us a little bit of magnesium. Also supports the pituitary and the pancreas. So this is what your protocol will look like if you're doing the blood sugar program. You'll have 3 shakes a day. Now the Veggie Complete and the Veggie Pro, the Complete you'll use 2 scoops of the shake, but the Veggie Pro you'll use 4 scoops. The scoops are a little bit, the shake powder is a lot lighter, so the scoops are a little bit smaller, so you'll use 4 scoops. You'll do SP Cleanse, 5 capsules 3 times a day, Diaplex, 5 capsules 3 times a day, and the Gymnema, 2 in the morning, 1 at dinner, 1 at lunch, and 1 at dinner. So if you're doing the inflammation program, you'll also do the SP Cleanse and the Veggie Pro, but you'll also be using Cyruta Plus. It's great for capillary integrity and function, also for cholesterol transport, helps with glucose handling as well, and good for your peripheral circulation. So it helps to maintain that integrity of those capillary walls. And then Boswellia complex. Well, Boswellia complex, as it calling it a complex, means it has Boswellia, celery seed, ginger, and turmeric. And these are all great phytochemicals that are just fantastic for reducing inflammation. Now, this time I did the inflammation program. I kind of inflammation immune I did a combo program. I ran out of Boswellia and I had turmeric, so I used turmeric Forte instead. And if I'm going to give you a choice between using Boswellia complex and turmeric Forte for everyday use, it'll always be turmeric Forte. But the Boswellia complex helps to support your kidneys. Remember, kidneys is the elimination. Helps to maintain and support healthy joints, also healthy circulation, and it also provides antioxidant activity. In the inflammation program, you'll also be using black currant seed oil. It's one of the essential fatty acids, gamma-linoleic acid, and it encourages the eicosanoid synthesis, and that supports the normal tissue repair in the process, also normal blood flow, and it's a big immune system supporter. So your schedule will have the shakes and the SP Cleanse. So the SP Cleanse are 5 capsules 3 times a day, Boswellia 1 3 times a day, Cyruta Plus 3 times a day, and the black currant seed oil 2 3 times a day. So the immune system is kind of one that I designed because with the current atmosphere and the COVID-19 spiking right now, I just thought it was really important to be able to have a little extra backup for our systems, especially if we haven't been eating super well during this COVID process. So I added a Immuplex in, and Immuplex is something that I usually take for about 3 or 4 days at the beginning every month. I usually take a high dose of it. But right now, with the current atmosphere of the COVID-19 and us being around patients, I want to stay healthy for not only for me, but for my patients. I use this. So I decided to do a little bit every day, but I did a little bit of a program with this because I figured that I can use all the support I can get. So Immuplex is great. It's healthy for the immune system function. It helps the white blood cell activity. It helps with inflammation. It has antioxidant activity. It's full of iron, zinc, chromium, folate, A, B6, B12, and your antioxidant vitamin C and E, and it's a great source of selenium. So it's a great, for me, I think it's just a great, almost an not anti-aging, but a healthy aging supplementation as well. So I just kind of been throwing 3 in my daily routine just for general support. And then Thymex. Thymex supports the thymus gland, and it's from bovine source, so that is a cow. And all mammalian tissue is very similar. So when we take the mammalian cell structure of the bovine thymus, that helps to support our own thymus gland. And it, remember that the master gland of the immune system is the thymus gland. So it's also really great to use with other immune support. That's why I put it with this program. So your protocol will be the shake twice a day, or excuse me, 3 times a day. And honestly, I do one shake, always one shake a day. I do a second shake just to take my supplements. So I kind of do maybe 2 shakes in a day. If you don't need to take all 3, that's fine. But if you're feeling like you're hungry or you're going to starve to death, then certainly and make sure you add the 3 shakes in. Especially the vanilla and chocolate, you could actually do that as a dessert if you have a little sweet tooth and you need a little something else. So the SP Cleanse will be 5 capsules 3 times a day. Immuplex will be 3 capsules 3 times a day, and Thymex will be 2 capsules 3 times a day. So on the food list on page 15, you'll see the vegetable serving size. It's a half a cup, and your target is 13 to 15 servings per day. And if you're eating that, you shouldn't really be hungry with anything else because those are very nutrition-rich and fiber-dense foods. You're going to limit your starchy vegetables. So a serving size will be half a cup and limit that to 1 serving per day. Your fruit servings, half to 3/4 of a cup. Use it in shakes only. Honestly, I don't do much fruit except when organic blueberries are in season. And we do have a banana palm, so I will have fresh bananas that way. But not, they're small and I break them in half and freeze them and use them in a shake. Protein, 3 ounces, 2 to 3 servings per day. And your miscellaneous servings are 2 teaspoons of your oils and 3 to 4 of those servings per day. So you want to be able to drink some filtered water, mineral, spring water. We call it fuzzy water. I like bubbly water. Green tea and herb tea. And I will let you have coffee, but you can't have cream in it unless you're doing organic whipping cream or you're doing like a bulletproof coffee. And no sugar in that either. So this kind of recaps what we just talked about. So make sure when you're doing your vegetables, maybe make half of them a little bit raw form, uncooked. And if you're doing anything out of a can, make sure it's a BPA-free package. And also processed meats like sausage, canned meats, cold cuts, and frankfurters, that's an absolutely big no-no. No, and you can do the canned fish and seafood, but just make sure that you're, especially if you're eating a fatty fish that are low risk of mercury, and don't get a farm raised, get your wild caught or deep sea. And you can bake it, broil it, roast it, poach it. Those are the best options. But I do have a tendency to do a little bit more of a plant-based protein. Probably 70 to 80% plant-based protein, and the other 20 to 30 is animal-based protein. So your good fats. And if you're going to make a shake and you're going to use a blender bottle with the little shaker ball in it, I would use any kind of nut milk. I'll let you do that. That may not be on your list. Just make sure it doesn't have added sugar in it. So if you want to do, we usually use almond milk at our house. Cashew milk is good. Hemp milk, all those things are fine. So make sure you're incorporating these good fats in there. I mean, I eat an avocado a day just about because of the good fat in there. All right, and this is what your plate will look like. So I want a lot of vegetables, a little bit of protein, and the rest will make up your fats and your fruits. So let's talk about the immune system. I think it's very fascinating. I mean, this is a system that runs in our body, and another system we don't have to think about. So it's designed to detect, deflect, and then destroy. So I thought you might want to know a little bit about the immune system because we hear a lot about that in today's world. You turn on the TV and we're talking about that. I think my biggest beef with all the information you see on TV, they tell you all the things you shouldn't do, but they don't tell you, hey, if you decrease your sugar, eat more fresh fruits and vegetables, get out in Dr. Sunshine, convert that vitamin D, because vitamin D is great for your immune system as well, exercise, don't smoke. I mean, these are all things that are so easy for people to incorporate in their lifestyle. So the innate defense system has 6 components to it: the lymph nodes, the lymph vessels, and the lymphocytes, and then in the bone marrow, the white blood cells, and also the skin and mucous membranes. So it's a pretty well-defined system. We have external barricades for anything coming in, our skin or our mucous membranes, and then we have internal defenses. If those do penetrate the barricades, the external barricades, we have an internal defense that will manage that, your phagocytes, your antimicrobial proteins, and your attack cells. So our immune system uses a whole arsenal of physical and chemical barriers, killer cells, and even fever to keep us healthy. And we don't have to think about it. We can do a lot to mess that system up. And we have these built-in defense systems. We have a respiratory, digestive, urinary tract, and reproductive defense systems. So these chemicals that are released are like the acid from the skin, the stomach, and the vaginal secretions. Mucin, that forms mucus in the respiratory and digestive passageways. It kind of coats the area and protects it. It makes it sticky so that the intruders are captured in that. Enzymes found in the saliva, mucus, and eye fluid that help to fight bacteria. And then you have antimicrobial proteins, and then other chemicals that are found in just sweat that will destroy bacteria. So exercise when you're sweating, that is good. So our internal innate defenses, and when we talk about innate, we're talking about just systems that go on that we don't even, they're just going on because our bodies are so marvelous. And they go on without us even having to think about them. So things that are innate defenses are like our fever, chemical signals, inflammation are all big innate defenses. So when we have something, say, the virus comes into our system, the first on the scene is the phagocyte, and their name actually means to eat. So their job is to go and they eat the intruder right away. And then the neutrophils come in. They're the most abundant type of your white blood cells. When they see that pathogen, they're kind of sticky. They kind of grab it and they take care of it, and then they die. And then the buildup of dead neutrophils is what we call pus. So like at a wound site, the neutrophils will come in and capture the pathogen so it doesn't get past that barrier, and then it'll form pus which is just basically dead neutrophils. Then you have the macrophages. Macrophage really literally means big eater. And so they come in, they have two types. One's a free type, and it just comes in anything that's, a bad, it just goes for it, eats it. There's a fixed type, and that's a stellate macrophage, and it's in the liver, and that exclusively, there's some in the liver, there's another examples, in other parts of the body, but it really just works within that particular organ. So we have natural killer cells, and they kill your own cells if they're infected with viruses or have become cancerous. So we have these backup systems, but if our systems are weak, they can't do the job. That's why, to me, it's super important. I really care about all my patients. So does Dr. Cooper, Tina, Marianne, and we want you to come into this world being strong and healthy. So we want to do everything we could do to make that happen. So the system that kind of works interestingly, so you'll have a cell, and you can see like the little cone up here on the left. You can see them, and then we call that a major histocompatibility complex. Well, what happens if that cell gets sick? That little hat falls off, and that little hat falling off is an indicator to the neutrophils or the macrophages that go, oh, hey, we got a problem. And so that neutrophil or macrophage, usually it's the neutrophil, will poke it. And when it makes that poking in there, it actually programs that cell to die. So it may be a cell that already has a virus, or it may be a cell that may be cancerous, and we call that apoptosis. Apoptosis means cell death. And then we have an inflammatory response. So that it's like our internal fire alarm. We get redness, swelling, heat, and pain. Sometimes loss of function is thrown in there. And we have these mast cells, and they're in the lower part of the skin. And so say you have a boo-boo on the skin. You fall and you cut your knee. Well, that mast cell then starts to you get what we call a histamine response. That histamine response then causes the swelling, and it's like the activation of the system to say, hey, we got a problem here, all hands on deck. And you've heard of antihistamines, so people that get stung by a bee or allergic to nuts or something like that, and they get unwanted immune response, like you can't breathe, your face swells or something like that. then the antihistamines would calm that down. But the histamine process is an actual protective process for our human body. So it comes in to create repair. We have that the cellular structure. Then those mast cells come up, and we are activating the skin to then start to regenerate. We have a whole cellular system where we interstitial system that sends different leukocytes and lymphatic liquid to the site to help start the healing process. And then the phagocytes will come in and they'll clean anything up that is, hanging around, and, make sure the area is cleaned before it heals. And the lymphocytes will come in, and then they'll, help along with the phagocytes, and then leave their little, dead bodies as pus there for the wound to protect it. And then we have other cells that are that histamine response will come in and get in the system and kind of interlock and protect the system so it can't get in there any further. So if you have the neutrophils and the macrophages and you have enough of them and they're doing the right job and your immune system is super healthy and strong, the foreign invaders have not a chance. But if our immune systems are weakened, or the foreign invaders are much stronger than anticipated, we have a backup system. So the body then, the neutrophils and the macrophages will talk to the thymus gland. That is the thymus gland. Get your minds out of the gutter. The thymus gland then will be they're saying they're kind of pulling the fire alarm. So the hypothalamus then uses that like a fire blast, which heats up the area and just kills everything. So like if you have a fever, if you're getting sick and you don't feel good, your temperature's high, you're sweating, your body's raising that temperature to kill something that's going on in your body. And we've been taught to take something to squelch the fever. Well, no, the body's doing exactly what it's designed to do. So don't squelch that fever. Let it do what it's supposed to do. And most people, like, in America, us Americans, we have to, go to work every day. So we can't take a day off. So we work really hard and we go to work and we're sick and then we infect everybody. So we go to the office, we get everybody sick, but maybe there's one or two people that don't get sick. Why is that? Undoubtedly their immune systems are a lot stronger because everybody's in there is breathing the same air and exposed that same person that was sick. So the body's pretty spectacular when your immune system, when everything's working right. And that's why I want you to always be super smart about boosting your immune system. And like I said, especially in this time it's really important because we don't know what the virus is going to do. The virus is a scary virus because I do a lot of research. So I was reading a research paper on some of the scientists that are now doing cadaver studies on these COVID patients that have died. And the one very unique thing about this virus that it crosses the blood-brain barrier. We have a blood-brain barrier to protect our brain. And if this virus crosses the brain, that's why people have symptoms of COVID, that they lose their sense of taste and smell, because it goes up right into their frontal lobe of their brain and damages it. And we don't know at this point if that virus stays in the brain or what the future of that virus is going to be. So that's why, I ask you to be careful. And the other thing is 68% of our population is overweight or obese, and that's a big comorbidity for that. So if you got the program from the office, you probably picked up your bottle of Olprima that we gave to you, just to kind of give you a little extra support for your system. So Olprima is EPA, and that's when we talk about the omegas, we have the omega-3s that's made up of EPA and DHA. So this is the EPA part of that omega-3, and it helps to support healthy triglycerides and HDL, so it won't affect the LDL. So it'll raise the other two, but it'll leave the LDL alone. Remember, the healthy triglycerides should be low, the HDL should be high, and the LDL should be low. So it also supports very good inflammatory processes, supports your mood. Not that any of you are moody after this past 3 or 4 months. Also supports a healthy lifestyle and just general good health support. So it's in a gel. It's 600 milligrams of EPA, so it's very potent. you do 2 of those a day. And, our diets are alone are just sometimes not enough. I mean, we eat fish quite a bit. Like last week, I made a plank of cedar plank salmon, and we've eaten it off it all week. But we don't do that every week. So because we don't eat fish every day and for every meal, I still use a omega-3 supplementation. And I recommend, for my patients over 50, I always like to add cod liver oil because it's high in vitamin D, high in vitamin A, the liver from the cod, because I know nobody in this group probably eats liver every day. And then it also has your omega-3s. So, I mean, we need that to support our healthy, our brain, our eyes, our joints, our skin. So when we talk about EPA, uh, it's going to reduce cellular inflammation, neuroinflammation, which is of the brain. So that means it would help with depression, ADHD, any kind of brain trauma, helps the cardiovascular system, is great for kids that may be having some mental development issues, or just helps to support their mental development. It's also used for burning excess fat. So it burns the fat before it gets stored, and it helps with your joint health. The DHA helps reduce heart disease risk, improves ADHD, and reduces the risk of early preterm births. It's also super great for um, pregnant moms, for the developing baby, for the developing neural structure of the baby. It's great for eyes, may reduce certain cancers, and it also helps to prevent or slow Alzheimer's disease. So you can see how I would separate that out. So if I have a patient, for instance, if you're in your particular case, you have a parent that has Alzheimer's or dementia, I may say, okay, let's start you on a little bit of, still do maybe cod liver or tuna, but I'll put you on some DHA extra to just give you an extra boost there for your neuro capability of your brain. Remember, your brain is 65% DHA fat. So we also have part of our immune system is our gut, and we have gut bacteria. So we have trillions of them. There are hundreds of different species, and they are all differentiated by their genes. And they have a key role in digestion because they produce vitamins, minerals, hormones, proteins, and nutrients. And when we talk about developing the immune system, we look at the large intestine, and large intestine has 75% of our gut-assisted lymph tissue. So it's really our immune system. It also makes 95% of our serotonin, which is for the brain. Our brain only makes 5%. So that's where you hear that gut-brain connection, where you hear people say, "Oh yeah, I had a gut feeling," or have butterflies in my stomach. That's how the brain and the gut are connected. And when we talk about supporting the gut bacteria, the good bacteria, I use ProSymbiotic at the office, and ProSymbiotic is a pre and probiotic. I hear most of my patients, and I educate them as we come along, that if they are taking just a probiotic, that's great. They're putting the good guys in, but they're not feeding the good guys, so the good guys die. They have to keep putting them in. The advantage of using something like ProSymbiotic is that when you put the good guys in, you're also feeding them, so you're developing and building your gut flora, and you're building that good bacteria. So we have some kinds of bacteria that will cause inflammation. We have some that will combat inflammation, and inflammation leads to diseases of aging. So that's why we want to reduce inflammation. That's why we do these programs. And if you have family members that are there, or you notice yourself having some issues, or if you've had brain trauma, these are all really important reasons why to keep not only your inflammatory foods down, but also boosting up your good bacteria in your gut. So we want to starve the bad bacteria, and we want to avoid substances they like, and their favorite thing to chomp on is sugar. So the key to longevity, and the key for us to feeling great, is to feed the good bacteria and starve the bad bacteria. So we want to consume food sources that are with prebiotics to feed the good guys, and fibrous root veggies and mushrooms, and like kimchi and sauerkraut. Those are all really good to kind of help get a good bacteria in the intestine as well, large intestine. So since it is summertime, and speaking of sugar, because I'm going to talk about sugar, so some of these dandy little treats that we give our kids over the summer are just loaded and packed with sugar. So 26 grams of sugar, that's a lot of sugar. So, I mean, it's scary how much sugar that is. I usually keep my carbohydrates between 50 and 75 a day, 75 grams a day. And if I would do one of those things, I mean, I would have not much left to eat. So I choose not to eat those kind of foods. Not saying that I don't have something every once in a while. I just don't make it a habit. And those, for my big kids here, we have summertime sugar. So just remember all those quarantinis you've been drinking do add up. A lot of them have sugar in them. So make sure you're aware of that. And just because I want to help you guys out, I figured if you want to manage your summer sugar, you can do it with exercise. So if you have a watermelon margarita, you can just do 50 minutes of walking or 20 minutes of running or 8 minutes of metabolic training or 13 minutes of burpees. If you do 2 of those, then you can do it for 1 hour, 15 minutes of walking or 35 minutes of running, 17 minutes of metabolic training or 19 minutes of burpees. And if you've just gone all out, 4 hours of walking and you've had the whole pitcher full, 4 hours of walking, which maybe I wouldn't recommend right after that. I wouldn't recommend it. 20 minutes of running, 15 to 20 minutes of metabolic training, and 61 minutes of burpees, although it would probably be very entertaining if we watched you do that. I just don't want you to get hurt. So if you eat just 100 calories more than you need per day for 1 year, that's a 10-pound weight gain. So all the foods below here are 100 calories. So you can see that that's not a lot of food. But the chicken with the barbecue sauce is pretty good, but probably the sauce on it has a lot of sugar in it. So we've already had our 4th of July, and the celebration continues because we don't know when we're going to school or when we're supposed to work and all that kind of good stuff, or we can't go on vacation. So just be mindful. These are all these are 100 calories of things. So you can see how a third of a cup of something is not very much. So keep your eyes open for those things. You can see how much grilled asparagus you can eat comparatively to the half a piece of a s'mores. So water is also super important in here. We need to keep you hydrated, especially in Florida. I mean, you got to remember your muscles are 75% water. And if we're outside exercising, even if you're just outside working in the yard, you lose a ton of water. So when I ride the bike, we carry water bottles with us, and we sometimes fill them up 2 and 3 times along our ride because it's just so hot. So remember, about half your body weight in ounces of water for the day, and keep that water flowing. And exercise, you just got to keep moving. I mean, I'm recommending at least 30 minutes a day minimum every day. I mean, if that's 30 minutes out of 24 hours, that means 23 and a half hours. You sleep for 6 to 8, so you're lying still. And then you sit on your butt at the desk at work, or you sit in front of the TV. So, I mean, 30 minutes is not a lot. So don't say you don't have time. You make the time. Get it done first thing in the morning so it's done for the day. So at least 30 to 45 minutes of exercise, 10,000 steps or more per day. Add some deep breathing in, some meditation, yoga. Even take a quick walk here and there. I try to explain exercise as we have weight training or strength training, and then we have cardio. Cardio is like paying your credit card every month. You just pay it off every month, and you pay it off every month, and you have to keep paying it off every month. But your strength training is like paying your mortgage. And once you have your mortgage paid off, you just maintain. So you have to do both, but you always have to do cardio. Your muscles are heart. We can't really you hand your heart a dumbbell. So here's your plan of action. So first, I want you to go to your refrigerator or go in your cabinets. I'm going to get rid of all the sugar liquids in the house. Read your labels. Become a label reader. Next, I want you to go clean out the high fructose corn syrup in your refrigerator door. It will shock you. Ketchup, pickles, jelly, your salad dressings. And if you have sodas in there, I mean, they're all full of high fructose corn syrup. And then provide carbohydrates, which are fiber dense and nutrient rich. Remember I said that a head of broccoli has 6 grams of carbohydrates, and an apple has 20 grams. So they both have fiber and they both are nutrient rich, but I would select something that's more nutrient rich, like the broccoli, than the apple. Not saying you can't have the apple. Then when you eat something, wait 20 minutes before you have your second serving. Give your hypothalamus time to know and register that you even ate. Most people are shoving food down, getting their plate full, and the body's like, whoa, 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 did you eat already? I didn't even know. And then start moving. Your goal is the 10,000 steps per day. That's a guideline. Doesn't have to be done all at once, but you do need to do some dedicated exercise. You've got to raise your heart rate up a little bit. And then finally, try to buy local and organic. We are so lucky down here. We have a living tower, so we pull our lettuces and our kale, and I've got tomatoes growing on there. We're just starting to get tomatoes, so it makes it really nice that we can go out and cut it. And it just you just put minerals in the water and do that once a week, and you're good to go. So here's your real food pyramid, and that doesn't look so bad. It's much different than the one you see that the government puts out. This is more accurate. So the challenge is on, my friends. It's only for 10 days. If you have any questions, please call the office or email. If Tina or Marianne, if they don't have the answer, they'll talk to Dr. Cooper and I, and we will get an answer for you. So any questions, please contact us. They all have experience doing the programs, and everybody, all our staff is doing the program, one of any of the programs as we speak. So good luck in 10 days, and I'll talk to you next week.